The next lesson here, T5 time spread, is a quick recap of this PDF here and what is already at great length here on the website under the Time Traveler module. All right, it gives you the quick introduction, some considerations for scaling in, lots of examples. So I'm not going to redo everything that I've already done, but I do want to just highlight three very key takeaway points on this setup here. Similar to the T4, we want to be focusing on highly liquid underlying assets that have lots of volume, lots of open interest, tight spreads, easy to get in and out of, nothing with no penny stocks or nothing with crazy, you might be the only market in it or something like that. We want to be able to get in and out of these trades relatively quickly. Additionally, we also want to be looking at these trades as just an added tool to the other methods that we're trading. All right, it can be used as a standalone trade. I recommend it not to be, however. So I think it's important to understand how they react to all kinds of different market conditions, but it should be part of a bigger basket of methods you're trading. And then lastly, the implications to how volatility affects these trades, specifically when you are going in different expiration cycles. That cannot be emphasized enough. And for me personally, that is probably the main principal reason why these are not my favorites or not my preferred, because when you start looking at, we'll just say, different expiration cycles, then what ends up happening is you see the changes, how you have implied volatility reacts at a strike price differently, whether it's at the money, out of the money, or in the money. These are all the put options right here. It also reacts differently based upon how much time there is to expiration. So when we're looking at right here, 38 days till these options expire, these are going to react quite differently than options that expire in 24 days, or even if we're looking at weeklies, options that expire in 13 or even 10 days. And when I get into the weekly hot sauce trade, that's really going to be apparent, because the changes in volatility are going to be vastly different and more noticeable in these T4, T5 time and horizontal diagonal spreads when you are trading options in different expiration cycles. Okay, so that's the biggest thing to be on the lookout for. Now, I've mentioned this in pretty good detail in the Time Traveler modules, but let me just re-emphasize it again. When you're trading these, you always want to be at the top of your list mindful of skew, and that just means that the difference between, I can probably pick an underlying vehicle to make this a little bit more apparent. When we just look at something like, Fakebook, and we can see, all right, if let me get rid of the weeklies, and we'll use large, and we'll use large. Okay. Now, this is obviously an exaggerated example, but it really brings home the point of what you have to be super mindful of when you're trading these types of animals. The implied volatility of options that expire in 31 days at the money is 17.0. That means that if I change this to, all right, well, here's the easiest way I can explain this is, if the implied volatility on these are 17 and the implied volatility on these are 23, that right there is a negative skew, meaning the front month options have a lower implied volatility than the back month options. The back month options are going to cost you more, so that you have the reason they cost you more is because you have a lot more time between this date today and the date that these expire. Now, if you want to see that clearly, we always want to be looking at options that have a positive skew or at least an equal skew. Meaning if I change this price right here to $5, look at what it does to that implied volatility. If this option was all of a sudden started trading for 250, or let's see, it's 350, that'll get us closer. That is a positive skew. The front month option is higher than the back month option, all right? So that if now all of a sudden, let's say that I execute a calendar where I sell this one and I buy this one, a time spread, all right? That gives me a calendar profile, all right? This is what it gives me. But now, if this deflates and this gets back into line, meaning it's a negative skew, the profits I make on this front month option overpower what I'm losing on this back month option. All right, so that is probably mandatory to understand and learn when you're talking about these horizontal or even the diagonal time spreads. What you need to absolutely accept and look at first and foremost is what is the implied volatility between these two expiration cycles. Because if I all of a sudden sell this one for $1.97, I buy this one for $6.55, and some big news event comes out, and let's just sample convert this, and some big news event comes out, and all of a sudden Facebook reacts positively or negatively to it. These front month options will react much quicker and much more responsively than these back month options. So if now all of a sudden that implied volatility goes up to 297 and it increased, to 23.4, well, look at what happened. Is now I am vastly underwater and nothing happened on the price except volatility changed. Okay? And so what you have to look at first and foremost on these, and I know I talked about this at great length in the other module, so please revisit those and listen to those again if you have already. Listen to them again, or if you haven't, go there next, because skew is something that cannot be taken lightly, and it absolutely has to be addressed when you're trading these time spreads, these calendar horizontal spreads. Okay, so thanks much, and we'll be moving on to the next one, which is the T6 weekly hot sauce, and I think you'll really like this one.